Oh my goodness. I haven't done this in a while. You would think that I'd been on vacation. You would think by the way that I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off that I had never done a live stream before. And you know what? You'd be absolutely right. Hi, how are you doing out there in internet land? My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative, and welcome to Chattin On The Porch, our review of the news, things that are going on, trying to make sense out of this crazy world in which we live. We are doing it all. We're doing it right here. We're doing it on Rumble. We're doing it on Twitter. And we are doing it on that quaint little alternative social media platform known as YouTube. So please, if you haven't done it yet, do me some big favors. Number one, please subscribe to my channel. We are so dangerously close to getting to 1,000 on YouTube. We are over 250 on Rumble. We're growing everywhere we can as best we can, doing what we got to do to make this thing happen. And you know what? We're trying to get it all together. I tell you what, we're going to do this thing, and we're going to do it good tonight. Also, hit the thumbs up. See that? Thumbs up. Give it a thumbs up. Big thumbs up. Leave a comment in chat. Share the link around. Daggone it. Tell your friends we're here. We're alive in 45. Wait a minute, it's not 45. 24. Joe Biden's out the door in 24. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Oh, we're feeling good, people. Oh, yeah. I am feeling good. Sound better, too. I see all those comments over there on YouTube. God love you. Anyway, my name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative. I am sometimes known as the fine fella in the fedora. I am sometimes known as the common man with common sense. But above all else, in this moment in time, here on planet Earth, in the universe that God created, I am known as your host. Again, we are on Rumble. We are on Twitter. We are on YouTube. We're on all kinds of places. Rumble. Good God, it's crazy. How are you doing out there, guys? Hope everybody had an absolutely great Thanksgiving. And I do want to respond to some things. Yes, I don't know about sound better, but you know, I am feeling better. Now TBA says, I think Brian gave me his wheeziness. Nah, sir, unless you and I passed each other on the street and I am not aware, I have not passed along anything to you. Now, where you've been slumming around, TBA, I have no idea, but I have not, to the best of my knowledge, given you anything. But, you know, I appreciate the fact that you think I'm that generous. Yes, Patty, I am feeling better. I am feeling much better. I think the days away from the computer were really good for me in a lot of different ways. The Highness. Hey, baby, I see you over there on Rumble. We'll say hello to you proper here in a minute. All right. First of all, I apologize, guys, because I have had me a crazy day, as is a wont to happen when I come back from a 4-day vacation, either from my work life or my live streaming life. And I found me all kinds of stuff and trying to get it all together for you guys and get home and get a shower and shave some of the ugly off my face. You know, it's a Monday, TBA. You got that right. Appreciate it. All right. Let us start with the YouTube side and say hello to folks. Gypsy. Mwah. And by the way, I love the way you think. We're going to get to some of that a little bit later. Why does YouTube erase early comments? I left a comment very early this morning. It's gone. Weird. Anyway, happy to gather together again after a long vacation. It feels like an eternity. Oh my gosh. It just feels like forever. I mean, 4 days off in the social media world, just like, you know, I feel like I've been gone for a year. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of like that line from Blazing Saddles. Look at that, steady as a rock. Yeah, and I shoot with this hand. It's kind of like, I don't know, man. We'll see how this goes tonight. Who else is here? Oh, my favorite crazy Canadians in the house. Well, one of my favorite crazy Canadians. Hi, Brian. The Front Porch. I hope you had a pleasant Thanksgiving. Did you bring home a doggy bag for the porch hounds? No doggy bags for the porch hounds and very little leftovers for me. However, The deviled eggs have taken on a life of their own, which I can explain that story here in a little bit. It's gotten crazy out there with the deviled eggs. Oh my goodness. Let's see who else is here in the house. No, Adam, I'm not making fun of you. Yeah, it is cold tonight. You got that right, brother. You got that right. Patel. Mwah. Hello, baby. Looking good as always. Who else is here in the house tonight? Ah, lovely Lana. Mwah. Hello, darling. Missed you. Missed you. Oh, let's see. Who else is here? The professor's in the house. Good evening, sir. Those days are important. I've been off content creation for a week, returning this week. Oh, yes, brother. I think everybody kind of took some needed downtime. However, the news did not stop happening. And oh, Lord, we got stuff to talk about. We're going to be winding up, sticking with probably one topic tonight. And because there's just so many angles from which to come at this thing. And as y'all might expect, oh, you better believe we're going to talk about the pardon of Hunter Biden. Don't you bet we won't. Woo! Lordy mercy. Hello, Motard. How you doing, brother? Fist bump to you. Let's see. Lovely Leah. Oh, the bartender of the porch is here. Mwah. Hello, gorgeous. Oh, by the way, I'm very sorry about what my Marshall Thundering Herd did to James Madison University Saturday night. Y'all played one heck of a game, but it was meant to be. And now my boys are on the way to the Sun Belt Conference Championship game this Saturday night, 7:30 ESPN. Going to be taking on the Raging Cajuns of University of Louisiana. That is going to be a good game. That's all I can tell you. All right, I think I've caught up on the YouTube side. Let's get over to the Rumble and say hello to the Wingnuts. WWG1, I've got every last one of them pulled up, and I've got to tell you something. Thank God you dropped them in. Now, Adam, don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me. I know you've been sending me stuff, and I apologize if I am not including stuff that's being sent to me, but like I said, I have had me a day. I will do my best to catch up and get stuff included as I can find the way to do it. I know you're a VMI girl, but still, it's a Virginia team, so I get it. So there you go. TBA is definitely in the house. He's accusing me of making him sick as a dog, so I appreciate that, TBA. I've been gone for 4 days. What's the first thing you do? He gave me his wheeziness. Oh, thanks a lot. I appreciate that. Oh my, no, I'm just messing with him, busting your chops. TBA says, Benny Johnson breaking. Special counsel David Weiss rejected Hunter Biden's bid to dismiss his indictment, says a pardon does not erase the charges. Oh, we're going to get into some of that. And Gypsy's got an interesting theory on that one, which if she's okay with it, I'll share with you guys. I've got my own take on the whole thing. This Hunter Biden story has got more angles of permutation. It is just something to see. It really is. But before we take a deep dive into that subject, and like I say, we're probably going to be spending most, if not all, of the evening on this Hunter Biden thing. So for all y'all want me to talk about Kash Patel, it might have to wait for another night, because I'm not going to lie to you. I spent most of my day looking at as much of these clips as I could on the Hunter Biden thing. So Kash might have to wait till tomorrow night, but not for the lack of desire to talk about it, because Kash Patel, I'll put it this way. Most of Trump's picks for the cabinet, I am very, very happy with. Most of them. Now, there's a few of them that are like, yeah. Most of them I like. But Kash Patel might be the cherry on top of the cake. Now, that DEA guy, man, he got oh, yeah. Oh, he got it. No. Trump need to withdraw that bad boy. No. We'll get into him sometime down the road. But anyway. But yeah, Kash Patel I was jumping for joy Saturday night. I was like, hell yes. So anyway, I am glad to see you guys. I will give you a quick rundown of my Thanksgiving. Tracy and I finished the live stream Wednesday night. We said our goodbyes to each other, and I went to work, and I had a friend of mine who, kept me company on the phone via FaceTime while I was peeling deviled eggs. And that for me lasted till maybe about midnight or 1 in the morning. And then I got back up, peeled some more of them. So then from there, I made the mix, and I wound up making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trays of deviled eggs. Now, I know some of y'all out there thinking, boy, have you lost your mind? Yes, I have, but you have to understand something. I come from a family of country people, and we only know how to cook one way when it comes to a holiday: big. And there's a reason for that. There's 2 reasons, actually. One has to do with pure selfishness, and the other has to do with being social. From a purely selfish standpoint, you always want to make enough food to get you through 2 or 3 days of a holiday. Okay. But the second reason is purely social. What if you have friends come around and either they haven't had anything to eat or they got nowhere to go? Well, you always want to make sure you got extra food on hand, especially at the holidays. And part of that goes back to the way my people grew up. Just to give you a little background, my folks grew up out back of a place called Spurlock Creek, and they grew up country. And this even went into the 20th century. And the attitudes, carried down from generation to generation. My sister cooks big at the holidays. Why? Because number one, you're going to take some of it home with you, because they ain't going to let you walk out hungry. Number one. Number two, we're going to have plenty of it to eat on. Number three, you just never know who's going to show up on your door. Okay. So you got that going on. Then, TBA, WWG was, you don't have an egg peeler? I was like, yeah, they're right here. Egg peeler number 1, egg peeler number 2. TBA says, we cook for an army, all 5 of us. There you go. WWG1 says, big is expensive. That is true. That is true. That is very true. But in the case of my deviled eggs, they've taken on a life of their own. I make a big mess of them for family. And then I had friends coming in from out of town. And I had promised this one particular friend that I would make them deviled eggs. And they loved them. And they shared them with some of their friends who lived here in the area. And now I'm required to make another tray of deviled eggs just for the friends at Christmas. So now basically I'm probably headed for, hang on one second. I'm headed for either 5, maybe 6 trays of deviled eggs at Christmas. I swear it does not pay to be good at what you do. That's and y'all and you folks out there that could cook, y'all know what I'm talking about. Because when people find out you can make one specialty item, above all else, yeah. TBA says at $1 per half of a deviled egg, you can make a killing. Don't tempt me, TBA. It's crossed my mind. But see, there's only one problem with this. Is that the mix has to be just right, and I'm just enough of a neurotic perfectionist. I don't know that I could do mass quantity of deviled eggs the way I make them, because I so worry about the quality issue that I'd probably put myself into a rubber room, for trying to get the mix just right. WWG1 says, I know what you mean. I'm good at sweet talking podcast hosts. Now, WWG1, just what are you referring to? No, I do not put bacon in them, interestingly enough. You want to know the mix? It goes like this: yolks, Miracle Whip salad dressing, sweet relish, a little yellow mustard, and sweet pickle juice. That's it. Mix it until it tastes just right, and then dab it in the eggs and put the paprika to it. That's it. That's all I do. But I also use jumbo eggs so I can get more out of the yolk. And I load those eggs up like they ain't no tomorrow. So there you go. Okay. So you do the exact same thing except with dill and bacon. All right. Fair enough. Oh, Adam. He's here all week, folks. Try the veal. TBA says you got to try horseradish and hot sauce. I've heard people say that to me, TBA, but I may, for experimentation purposes, I may do it just for the grins and giggles of it. I may do it. But anyway, Thanksgiving was awesome. Got to spend time out at my my nephew and his wife's house with all the family. And then Saturday and Sunday, well, Friday, Saturday, Sunday was just football and running around and doing all kinds of things that I love to do, especially football, because one of the great traditions for me isn't so much the Thursday NFL games, okay, which I think are a lot of fun. To me, the great traditions on Thanksgiving weekend are the Friday games like Texas A&M, and then you've got the rivalry games on Saturday, Ohio State, Michigan. And by the way, for all you Ohio State fans out there, I love y'all and I feel for you because you let a 19-point underdog Michigan team whip your ass in your own house. Now, for that, I feel sorry for you. Okay. And then you got Bama versus Auburn, which I don't want to talk to Tracy about that game because she'll probably give me a cussing for the fact that my beloved Crimson Tide whipped the crap right out of Auburn. But yeah, it's to me, it's those great traditions. And then Sunday, we had a birthday party for my great niece and my great nephew, and that watching a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old and a whole bunch of other little kids running around, jumping up and down on, overstuffed, air blow up things, it's always cool. So, WWG1, did you see the fight after the midfield flag planting at Ohio State? I did not see this fight, but I've heard about it. I have heard about it. Yeah. Oh, that's exactly why. Well, okay. From what I understand, Gypsy, from what I understand about this, after Michigan beat Ohio State, they took the Michigan flag and planted it right in the middle of 50-yard line in the middle of the O in Ohio Stadium. And this led to a lot of young men letting their emotions get the better of their brain. Gee, imagine that for college students. And then they went at it. And to the point pepper spray got used. That way, it got nuts. Like I said, I didn't see it, but I've heard about it. Okay. Now, with all due respect to you Ohio State fans that are torqued about what Michigan did to you, now see, the only one that I know about is the Ohio State-Michigan game. I've heard about the others, but I haven't really, taken a deep dive into it to see what exactly happened. But yeah, it got crazy over the weekend. Okay. However, I would like to point out something to you Ohio State fans. Okay. And don't get me wrong, I love y'all, but I got to call you out on your BS. Okay. All of this outrage, y'all getting mad at the Michigan players over what they did. Don't get me wrong, it's justified, but y'all know you've done some stuff over the years, either up at Ann Arbor or to the Michigan players whenever they came into Ohio Stadium, okay? Yeah, look, I love you Ohio State fans out there, but, don't think I'm not going to call you out on your shite. Just saying. Hello, gorgeous. Mwah. How you doing tonight, beautiful? Glad to see you sashay into the room, as always. Oh, goodness. Goodness me. All right. Enough. Let's get down to business. To the merry memes we go. And like I say, WWG stealing of mascots comes to mind between Ohio State and Michigan. Yes, there you go. Brutus got kidnapped at some point or another over the years. Anyway, I want to thank WWG1 for this first one, among others we're gonna do tonight by way of the merry memes. As y'all remember, before Thanksgiving, Vice President Kamala Harris had returned from Hawaii and had given us a message about 9 minutes long, which was not well received. Well, we have come to find out before that 9-minute message went out, apparently there was a lot of rehearsal that went into it. And I don't know if WWG1 got this on his own or the Porch Hounds got it to him or how exactly it got into my hands, but we have a clip from some of the rehearsals that Kamala Harris did in preparation for her 9-minute speech. And as always, guys, give me a sound check. Let me know what's going on. Let's just see how this turned out.
Friends, you called in favors. You said, hey, I showed up at your softball game. Now I need you to show up at the campaign office. Again, I'll say, the election didn't turn out like we wanted it to. Certainly not as we planned for it to. But understand that the work we put into it was about empowering people. That's the spirit with the work we did.
Now I begin to understand why it was that later on in that 9-minute presentation, the things kind of went downhill from there. Just saying, guys. Just saying. Anyway. However, there is one positive thing that Kamala did after the 9-minute speech. Apparently, she had some tips for cooking for the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday, and she posted them around social media. And again, WWG1 managed to get a hold of this one. And, she even gave you some ideas about how to cook kale, K-A-L-E, kale, for Thanksgiving. And I don't know, guys. Maybe this is the way we ought to go when it comes to cooking kale. I mean, a little coconut oil in the kale makes it easier to scrape into the... Whoa, wait a minute. Hold it. Oh, whoa, wait a minute. Okay, maybe this wasn't... maybe this was not the best of advice to talk about. So I don't know, man. Maybe Kamala didn't put this one out. We'll see. Well, hello, young lady. I got to catch up with you. Let me shoot you a text message in the morning, and we'll talk about Wednesday night on your channel, and we'll roll from there. But hello. Mwah. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving, you and your family, and glad to see you in the house, Tracy. Always glad to see you in the house. Okay, what else have we got going on here? A lot of things have been said about Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I mean, ever since she came on the scene in 2018, I think that's when she was elected to Congress. Ever since she came on the scene in 2018, she has been something of a trendsetter. And, she does things in her own unique way with her own signature style. And a lot has been made about, little idiosyncrasies, little quirks that she has. Even when she's writing, people have noticed that she does certain things. I mean, why, for example, does she speak, does she do all of her tweets in lowercase as opposed to using, standard grammar and punctuation? Well, apparently her hatred of capitalism is just driving the whole thing, So, because, because if you use capital letters, but you don't use them, then that means you hate okay, it's never mind. The joke didn't work. Wah, 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 wah. Oh, that's right. That's right. She did. That is true. Very true indeed. Yeah, but I'm bimp. Yeah. Yeah. So look, it's like Johnny Carson used to say, some jokes land, some of them crash. That one crashed. What can I tell you? Anyway, All right, what else do we have in the way of the merry memes? Oh, wait, I'm saving that one for dead last. Hang on a minute. Let me slide that on down. You know, a lot of us during Thanksgiving, we ate, we kept on eating, and just when we think we couldn't do any more, we found inspiration. You know, when your cat is willing to take one for the team and look like that after it's all over with, man, go back and get that third plate of food, daggone it. I mean, look, if Felix the feline over here is going to be willing to look like that after Thanksgiving, what's the matter with you? I ask you. Anyway, now this one I think is really cool. And again, I got to thank WWG1 for this, but this one's pretty good. I'm just going to let it speak for itself. That WWG1, that is a good one, brother. And you know what? While I'm thinking about it right now, I'm going to pop that thing in on both sides. I mean, I know it's over there on Rumble, but for anybody on YouTube that wants to get this thing, you want to share that around with your friends, personally, that's a pretty good one. I really do. A cult does not have 77 million people. That's called a revolution. A cult has a few thousand with blue hair and pronouns. WWG1, amen, brother. Just amen. And speaking of which, I don't know if you guys have seen the commercial for the new television show that's coming out this spring, but apparently it starts in January. And if you haven't seen this, I think you're going to like it. If you have, well, indulge me and the other members of the audience for just a moment. I think you will enjoy this. And with that, check out this new show that is actually going to be on the internet, among other places. So I hope you like it.
Coming this spring to MXNBC, a groundbreaking series that will change the U.S. government and the world forever. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, under the direction of former star of The Apprentice, Donald Trump, will challenge 3 million contestants to carry their load or hit the road. That's right. We'll be asking every government employee to prove their value.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine.
Just like in a good old-fashioned meritocracy.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming in. What would you say it is that you do around here?
I mean, a lot of days I really do stuff. It's just there's not that much going on today.
I helped Tanner and Blaze replace those heavy 5-gallon water containers.
Tune in each week as Elon and Vivek measure every federal employee's value and efficiency.
And time. So your study on how cocaine enhances the sex drive of Japanese quail, what's that worth to the American taxpayer?
I think it's priceless.
And get ready for the savings, as those that don't make the cut get shown the door.
The president wants to tell you something.
Firstly, thank you for coming in today. And second, you're fired.
The Emmy Award-watching viewers of Deadwood and Idiocracy present Doge Days, the purge of the U.S. government.
There is a whole forest of dead wood out there. We got to get chopping, buddy.
Well, there you go, folks. I don't know about you, but I'd pay somebody to watch that. TBA says if that's a pay-per-view, that's a series I'd pay for. Yeah, I would. I really would. So, just saying. And now the last meme of the night, and this one is going to speak for itself, and it's going to lead us into our topic, the topic du jour of the night. And this one, when I saw it, I thought, you know what? Man, I couldn't have found a better meme if I'd have tried. And it's this. You want something right now that absolutely sums up more or less what got done over the weekend? This is it. I mean, that is just it just says so much. It really does. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to dive right into topic du jour of the night. We're only going to be traveling to one passenger car on the train tonight, and we're going to spend a good amount of time there. Now, as y'all were aware, I think the news broke, what was it, late Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening? I mean, everybody thought that the Kash Patel to head the FBI story was going to dominate the news come Monday. No. Joe Biden said, hey, hold my beer. And boy, did he come up with a good one. TBA says, I was under a rock since last Tuesday. What happened? Now, I don't know if you're being facetious or not, but I'm going to take you at your word on this one. Which I really don't believe you, TBA, but okay. I'll go along with it. No, I know you. Now I know you're messing with me. I just went back and saw one of your earlier comments. Okay, let's get down to it. From NBC News, and they're the ones that broke the story, President Biden pardons his son, Hunter Biden. The decision, which was first reported by NBC News, is a reversal for the president, who repeatedly said he would not use his authority to pardon his son or to commute his sentence. Article by Carol Lee and Sarah Fitzpatrick. We have the following. Dateline, Washington. Joe Biden pardoned his son Hunter on Sunday night, a reversal for the president who repeatedly said he would not use his executive authority to pardon his son or commute his sentence. Quote, I believe in the justice system, but as I've wrestled with this, I also believe raw politics has affected the process and it led to a miscarriage of justice. And once I made this decision this weekend, there was no sense in delaying it further. I hope Americans will understand why a father and a president would come to this decision, Biden said in his statement. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's what Biden can hope for. I can go ahead and speak, I think, safely on behalf of millions of Americans. No, we don't understand this, but let's talk about it for a little while, okay? I'm going to say something which is probably not going to come as much of a surprise to you guys, all right? As a matter of fact, I think when I say what I'm about to say next, you're going to be like, yeah, I agree with you. I'm not surprised by this. I don't think you guys are either. I think, like me, you're just as mad as hell, or you're disgusted, or somewhere in between. But is anybody really surprised by this? We're not. Why? We know Joe Biden. To quote the legendary William Safire, the man is a congenital liar. He wouldn't know the truth if it came up and kissed him. Now, on this, Tracy, I absolutely agree with you. I'm like you. I expected this to happen January 18th, January 19th, January 19th at 11:55 p.m. before the 20th. I knew he was going to pardon Hunter. We all knew he was going to pardon Hunter. And I think Tracy's absolutely right. You know, if I asked for a show of hands or a thumbs up in the chat or whatever, that people are not necessarily shocked by this. Now, there's another interesting angle to consider. Now, we'll get to that, some of that too, because that sort of goes to Gypsy's theory about this. Kind of, sort of. So, no, I'm not surprised that Joe Biden did this. The timing surprises me, but the fact that he did it doesn't surprise me at all. Now, I'm curious as to what ultimately made him do it this soon, because this almost feels rushed. And I got something to show y'all here in a minute if you haven't seen it yourselves. But here is the official White House release, if you have not seen this. And this is from a statement from Joe Biden. Quote, Today, I signed a pardon for my son Hunter. From the day I took office, I said I would not interfere with the Justice Department's decision-making, and I kept my word even as I watched my son being selectively and unfairly prosecuted. Okay, now I'm going to throw the BS flag right here. Okay? Your son was charged with a gun charge and tax evasion, and could have been charged with more had it not been from interference from the Department of Justice. Okay? This whole, selectively and unfairly prosecuted, boy, if you aren't the pot calling the kettle black, go talk to Eric Trump about being unfairly and selectively prosecuted. Go talk to Donald Trump about being unfairly and selectively prosecuted. 4 different cases in 4 different jurisdictions around the country, 2 of them federal, 2 of them state and local. Really? You're going to sit here and expect us to cry tears over your crackhead son? Give me a break, Joe. Anyway, back to the statement. Without aggravating factors like use in a crime, multiple purchases, or buying a weapon as a straw purchaser, which, by the way, I can kind of see that argument. I might even agree with him on that one. People are almost never brought to trial on felony charges solely for how they filled out a gun form. I disagree with that. Those who were late paying their taxes because of serious addictions, but paid them back subsequently with interest and penalties, are typically given non-criminal resolution. It is clear that Hunter was treated differently. Anyway, moving on. As soon as I can get this thing to work, there we go. The charges in his case came about only after several of my political opponents in Congress instigated them to attack me and oppose my election. Then a carefully negotiated plea deal, agreed to by the Department of Justice, unraveled in the courtroom, with a number of my political opponents in Congress taking credit for bringing political pressure on the process. Had the plea deal held up, it would have been a fair, reasonable resolution of Hunter's cases. Yeah, if the plea deal had held up, nobody would have realized what else your son had done. Okay? But let us continue. No reasonable person who looks at the facts of Hunter's cases can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out only because he is my son, and that is wrong. There has been an effort to break Hunter, who has been 5.5 years sober, maybe, even in the face of unrelenting attacks and selective prosecution. In trying to break Hunter, they've tried to break me. There's no reason to believe it'll stop here. Enough is enough. My entire career, I have followed a simple principle. Just tell the American people the truth. They'll be fair-minded. Here's the truth. I believe in the justice system. As I have wrestled with this, I also believe raw politics has infected this process, and it led to a miscarriage of justice. And once I made this decision this weekend, there was no sense in delaying it further. I hope Americans will understand why a father and a president would come to this decision. And that is Joe Biden's statement. Now, there is so much you can unpack from that. TBA over on Rumble says, no reasonable person. Where have I heard that phrase before? Oh, yeah. It was Comey on Hillary's case. Good point. And WWG1 backs you up on that. As far as I know, Gypsy, no, there has been no decision on the Penny case, although it's going to closing arguments. Oh, I agree with you completely, Tracy. They went easy on Hunter and even tried a BS plea. The stuff in Ukraine they are going to find after Trump takes office will be, yeah, we're going to get to that point too. Hold on, dear. We're going to get to all that. So Joe Biden has pardoned Hunter. He's done it what it feels like is early. And I'll explain why I think that here in a minute. He has issued a statement that is laughable on its face for so many different reasons. Okay? And having made his decision, he skipped town. He's not even facing the press right now. He's over in Angola, in Africa. The first American president, according to reports, to visit the country of Angola. Wonderful place, Angola, filled full of corruption and all kinds of shady deals. He must feel right at home right over there. Okay? Now, there are a lot of things wrong with what's happened here, okay? But let's just start with the most basic one. Here's an interview with David Muir of ABC News. I believe this is when Biden went over to, this was June. I think this was this would have been the G7 summit. And David Muir of ABC News interviews the president, and he asks him a very simple question. Guys, check this out.
Your son Hunter is on trial, and I know that you cannot speak about an ongoing federal prosecution. But let me ask you, will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yeah.
Does he not look like Walter? I'm sorry. Look at this face. Look at this. Hang on. There. Does he not look like Walter, the ventriloquist dummy? I swear, if ever there was a time he looked like Walter, it's right there. Anyway, sorry, I had to get that one in.
But let me ask you, will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
So I'm going to accept the verdict no matter what it is. Now listen to what he's asked next. And hello, DB. Glad to have you in the house. Here's the next part of it, and this one's the most important.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
Okay. Remember what he said right there. This was June of 2024. I am not going to pardon my son Hunter. Okay? Not going to do it. I am not going to let him be pardoned. Right? Just not going to do it. Okay? Now, and that was the message from the White House for months on this subject. No matter what happens, the president is not going to pardon his son, Hunter Biden. And most of us on the political right, most, if not every member of Fedora Nation who heard that, or various forms of that, had the same reaction that the boys from Animal House did when someone would say something. Bullshit, 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 bullshit. That was a statement of pure Bravo Sierra, as they say in the military. Pure old-fashioned Bravo Sierra. Or Barbara Streisand, as the legendary Rush Limbaugh used to call it. Nobody believed Joe Biden on that one. Yet that's the story they stuck to. Okay? And if you don't, when I say they stuck to it, I mean the whole stinking White House, from the president on down to the janitor and everybody in between. You don't believe me? Check this out. Jean-Claude Van Damme Pierre, the White House press secretary, I've got a montage of statements when she was talking about this very subject. Check it out.
Second one, would the president pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear, and I said no.
Let me go back to the first question of the briefing. I know you said not a lot's changed since yesterday and that it's a personal matter, but from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Again, you've also said several times that the president would not pardon or commute the sentence for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying it would not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
Okay. So that's the line everybody stuck with. Okay. Everybody. No, it's still a no. It's going to be a no. Joe is not pardoning Hunter. No, 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 no. Nobody can do the shigadig like you do, or however that song goes. Nobody does a shake like you do. Sorry, having flashbacks to different days of my life. But that's what they told everybody. We're not going to pardon Hunter. And again, forgive me for being pedantic and coming back to this, but it needs to be said. Nobody in this audience, I will almost guarantee you, to a man and woman, believed that Joe Biden was not going to pardon Hunter Biden. We knew it was coming. The only question was when. Oh, now, you know, DB, you're not the only one to make this statement, because, you know, you got a really good point, and I want to talk about this for just a second. If you worked in the White House, okay, and well, let's leave the White House staff out of this, because you know they knew that Joe Biden was going to do it. They may not ever admit it, but you knew they knew he was going to do it. Let's say if you are a surrogate out there in the media, okay, or a member of Congress, or, you know, somebody in the journalistic community, for 6 months or more, you have been saying he's not going to pardon him. He's not going to do it. He's going to be above the law. He's going to be everything else. You have got to feel lower than a snake's shadow right now. Not because you necessarily did anything wrong, but Joe Biden just basically cut the knees right out from under you. You will never be, well, you'll still do it because you'll shill for the money, but you'll never be able to go on a television show again and have an ounce of credibility, because no one's going to listen to you. Because most people are going to say, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. He fooled you, baby. That's exactly where this is going. And you know what, Gypsy? I don't even necessarily mind the pardon. I'll address this right now too. I don't necessarily mind the pardon. Okay? I'm with you. Look, if Joe didn't do it, I would almost bet you Trump would have. I know that sounds weird to say, but it would not have surprised me at all if Donald Trump would have wound up pardoning Hunter Biden. It would have caused some serious rankling among the, yeah, and that's probably the exact reason, the greater good. Yep. Yeah. And that's probably why he would have done it. She'll end up working for what's left of the legacy media, a la Jen Psaki. Oh, by the way, I have not got this pulled up. Did you guys see the latest demographics and Nielsen information on MSNBC? I don't know if I'm quoting this exactly right. I retweeted it earlier today. But their demographic, between the 18 to 54-year-old crowd, there was a, hang on, I got to see if I can find this real fast. Give me 1 second here. I'm almost sure I can find this quick. Hang on. I have got to find this now, because this is just absolutely, this just blew my mind. Hang on. Where is it? Where is it? Come on, Brian. You can find this quick. Come on, boy. Because this just blew my mind when I saw it. Just absolutely did. The ratings over at MSNBC are so stinking bad. I mean, it is just absolutely god awful. Just about got it. Hang on, guys. Anyway, yeah, I'm still looking for it, but I think I can find it fast. They are absolutely cratering over at MSNBC. I think the demographic that I saw was the 18 to 54-year-old crowd. And they were like, there was one night where they got like 28,000 on one night. Oh, where is this? This was so good when I saw it. Because I remember tweeting out, I think I was tweeting out Elon Musk. I told him to hold out. Oh yeah, here. Oh, no, wait a minute. Darn it. Ugh, never mind. I'm not going to be able to find it fast enough. But yeah, it was just extraordinary to me that that they couldn't do any better than this. Just amazing. Anyway, yeah, like I said, I thought I was going to be able to find it fast. I'm not going to be able to. But if I do, I'll put it back out there again. But yeah, it just blew my mind. Anyway, all right, never mind. Sorry, I thought I was going to be able to find it quick. Oh, yeah, it's terrible. I mean, yeah, it's just, yeah. Oh, wait a minute, that must have been it. TBA says MSNBC has a viewership of about 60,000 people during prime time. Yeah, that's about right. I think you just said it. Just said it indeed. But yeah, they absolutely told everybody it's not going to happen. Am I mad about the pardon happening? No, not really. I think, but I will say this. Any credibility the Democrat Party has left is slowly being shredded. And the irony of it is, it's not the Republicans that are doing it to him. It's not even Donald Trump that's doing it to him. The credibility of the Democrat Party as an institution is being shredded at the hands of Joe Biden. This is him going scorched earth as he goes out the door. Okay. Now let's talk about the pardon itself. I want to show you guys something. And I think you guys are going to pick up, and matter of fact, I've seen some people already commenting on this. Oh, this is coming. Don't worry. What Biden just did has opened the door for Donald Trump. Big time. Big time. You know, that's an interesting idea. I don't think he'll do it. Yeah, Tracy, you may be right. You may be right, but I want to go back to this. I don't think Biden would do this, but it would be smart if he did. I want to show you guys something. This is the actual proclamation of pardon. Okay? To Robert Hunter Biden, a full and unconditional pardon for those offenses against the United States which he has committed. Now listen to this phrase, or may have committed or taken part in during the period of January 1, 2014 through December 1st, 2024, including but not limited to all offenses charged or prosecuted by Special Counsel David C. Weiss, yada, 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 on and on and on, in testimony whereof I have hereunto signed my name and caused the pardon to be recorded with the Department of Justice. Anybody notice anything interesting about the dates? And WWG1 is right on it. Ding, 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 right on the nose. 11 years worth of pardons. Why? And TBA says, I repeat, an 11-year blanket pardon. What else is being covered up by this? All right, let's deal with that question for a second. Burisma, Ukraine, alleged child trafficking laws, sex crimes, allegedly, money laundering, allegedly, which is actually going to make a real good case for it, extortion, shakedown, on and on and on it goes. Honey, I've done a lot of stuff in 11 years, but I don't know if I've ever racked up anything like that. I get what you're saying. 11 years worth of crime. This goes past the gun charges. This goes past the tax evasion. This goes past all of this. Yeah, TBA, blackmail, money laundering, RICO, up the Oz, and all the sundry. Yeah. 11 years worth of stuff going back to before he got on the board at Burisma. Human trafficking? Yeah, he's off the hook scot-free. Absolutely scot-free for all of it. Everything. Now, part of what gets me about this, okay, I keep repeating a point, is that you guys knew this pardon was coming. I knew this pardon was coming. Okay? Most people on the political right who have a half a functioning brain cell knew this pardon was coming. Apparently, some people in the media are just that dumb. They didn't realize Joe was going to do this, or they didn't think he would do it. You have people in the Democrat Party who went out and shilled for Joe Biden for all these years. They feel like they've had the knees cut out from under them. For 11 years worth of stuff, and I love the way this is phrased, for things he may have done or may have participated. Not that he's actually convicted of it, just he may have done it. For 11 years. "11 years of this." The other part that cracks me up, and I gotta talk about this. You got people out there saying, "Oh, well, I mean, what did you expect Joe to do? This is his son who's trying to recover from drug addiction. And, any father would feel some measure of compassion to try to help their son, get through a very difficult period of life." Okay, hold on a minute, y'all. Okay, let's get real here for a second. Do I acknowledge that Hunter Biden is a recovering drug addict? Yeah, I do. Do I acknowledge that he probably goes through a daily struggle of trying to stay clean? Yeah, I do. That said, however, Hunter Biden is a grown-ass man. Well, let me rephrase that. He's grown. I wouldn't call him a man. Okay? There ain't no way in the world I'd call him a man. There's a lot of things I'd call him, but I ain't calling him a man. Okay? Oh, he might have all the functionality physically of a man. He's not a man, not in my book. Okay? And second of all, this pardon has nothing to do with helping his son who's recovering from addiction. This has to do with making sure that Papa Joe covers the bag man. What am I talking about? Folks, think about this for a second, okay? If the Bidens are a crime family, in other words, they're built like the mob, if Joe is the godfather, just go with me for a second on this. He's the godfather, okay? And there's the possibility that somebody could squeal. You could have a rat inside the organization, okay? Somebody could sing like a canary. Would you take the chance of their testifying against you? Okay? No. You would do one of two things. You would either, shall we say, help them take a permanent vacation, or you would buy off their silence. Joe just bought off Hunter's silence. That's Leanne, we're going to get into that, darling. I love my audience. You guys are so spot on. And thank you for saying that I'm spot on about this, because I don't think my instincts on this are wrong. This is Joe Biden tying up his loose ends before he leaves. Okay? This is exactly what he's doing. This has little or nothing to do with compassion toward your son who's recovering from drug addiction, okay? This has to do with taking care of the bag man. This has to do with making sure the bag man stays silent. This has to do with making sure the bag man cannot incriminate on the Don. Y'all know what I'm talking about? That's exactly where this is going. Okay? He's shutting Hunter up. And by the way, one of the big questions, okay, and TBA's got a really good comment here that he pinned over on Rumble. But the Bidens are, quote, the low men on the totem pole. They are all the bagmen for all their superiors up the chain in the crime syndicate. Well, James, Joe's brother, and Hunter are definitely the bagmen. Well, Hunter's the bagman, okay, in this analogy. James is the setup guy, okay? James is the setup guy. On occasion, Hunter gets to be the setup guy because he gives you the access. He sells access to Dad. The interested parties get access to Dad, and then Hunter comes along and collects the coin. That makes Hunter the bagman in my analogy, okay? WWG1 says Hunter is the F-up. Well, you ain't wrong about that. He may be the bagman, but he's definitely an F-up. But I want to show you a couple of tweets. Why now? That's one of the big questions that everybody is asking. Why do it now? Now, Joe says, hey, I made up my mind about this. There's no sense delaying it. Okay, fine. But here's the question that I've got. Was Joe pushed into doing this earlier than what he might have otherwise wanted to? Okay. I think the answer to that might be yes. Here's why I say that. And again, what I'm about to show you next is conjecture. Okay? Take it for what it's worth. This is good old-fashioned political scuttlebutt. But Jack Posobiec, the editor at Human Events, had a couple of tweets that I think are worth your attention. Let me show them to you. This is from Sunday night about 9:30. Over the weekend, Hunter told his father about a book he was writing that would go public with everything. Days later, his father signed a blanket pardon per White House official. In other words, according to Posobiec's source, Hunter basically dropped a big old juicy piece of news on Dad while they were choking down turkey. Dad, I'm writing a book. I'm going to tell everybody everything. Now, I've got to admit, okay, and I'm not saying Posobiec is wrong because usually Jack Posobiec is pretty good with his intel, all right? But if you're Hunter, why would you do that to your dad? Look, Hunter has got to know that his dad is going to take care of him on the back end for any number of different reasons, but I say the biggest reason of them all. Hunter knows that his dad knows that if Hunter talks, Dad's in trouble. Okay? So why would you do this? Why would you drop that kind of pressure on him? What is this your form of an insurance policy to make sure Dad does pardon you? Or are you just trying to get even with Dad for all the years you feel like you've been putting up with his BS? You know, that you have been to use the analogy from over there on Rumble from the Wingnuts, that you are the Fredo inside this version of the Corleone family. Fredo do this and Fredo do that. Fredo, go shake down a Chinese company. Fredo, go sit on a board at Burisma. Fredo, go talk to the Moscow mayor's wife and get a few $1 million for the family. Maybe he is genuinely fed up with it all. Maybe this was his way of looking at Dad going, hey, Dad, let me show you the Delaware finger of friendship. Maybe, I don't know. But this is what Jack Posobiec has got. Apparently, Hunter dropped it on him and said, I'm going public with this. And then a couple of days later, the pardon comes down. Now, a little further with that, one more tweet from Posobiec. Joe Biden had White House counsel Ed Siskel put out the feelers to the DOJ last night. In other words, this would have been Saturday night, regarding the Hunter Biden pardon, and nobody objected, including Merrick Garland. Well, on the other hand, why would you object? Look, these guys know they're on their way out the door. Okay? Either they're going to resign come January 20th, or Trump's going to fire them as soon as Pam Bondi gets a hold of the Justice Department. Okay? Yeah, and Atlanta, you're absolutely right. That's right. He texted various family members and told them he was tired of seeing his dad take the money that he earned. Matter of fact, was it Hunter's niece? Or was it Hunter's daughter? I think it was his daughter he was complaining to about this, and said that very thing. He was tired of giving, money to his dad for all his hard work. So Hunter supposedly drops this news on his dad. Dad puts out feelers through the White House counsel to the Justice Department. Nobody at Justice Department is going to, give a rat's rear end about it. And Sunday night, the pardon comes down. And I want to show you one more item kind of related to this, because this is a good point. And this comes from Rudy Giuliani. I think you guys will appreciate this. Now, I'll read it in case you can't see it. Joe Biden, who has never even met with his granddaughter Navy, didn't pardon his son because he was a good father. He did so because, as his son admits on the hard drive, for 30 years, Hunter has given half the millions he collected to the boss of the crime family, Joe Biden. Which kind of goes back to my theory. Joe is buying Hunter's silence, because let's just run this out to its logical conclusion. Okay. And again, some of this is based on pure conjecture. Okay. Just pure conjecture and good old fashioned political scuttlebutt. But let us assume for a moment that Jack Posobiec's source inside the White House is correct. That Hunter threatened Dad with a tell-all book. Joe realizes that come January 20th, he no longer has the protections of the presidency anymore. Okay? He also knows that he's probably pissed off his son enough over the years that if Hunter drops a threat like that, recovering from drug addiction or not, he'll probably do it. What's the best way to solve the problem? Blanket pardon. That is how Joe is tying up his loose ends. And believe me, there are going to be several loose ends that he has to tie up between now and when he walks out the door on January 20. Which is why this pardon is not going to be the last of them. And I've got something to share with you here in a minute. So Joe Biden issues this pardon. He goes out the door. So does the White House press secretary. Where's she at? Well, she's hanging out with Joe. They're both over in Angola. Nobody can ask the White House about any of this. The White House spokesperson cannot be bothered to answer questions about it. Joe Biden cannot be bothered to answer questions about it. They both skip town together. It is just a whole fascinating collection of things going on here. Okay. Now I've got a clip from Grant Stinchfield of Newsmax, who I jokingly refer to as Stinkbug. And don't get me wrong, I got nothing against Grant Stinchfield. I like him. It just seems his name to me lends to nickname him Stinkbug. And Stinchfield's a good guy. I mean, don't get me wrong. Okay. But Stinchfield, has some thoughts on this, and I can't disagree with some of it. Okay. I really can't. So I want to play you this clip just for, just to get your guys' conversation going on this. So just tell me what you think about this. And with that, check it out.
Hunter Biden will not be the only one pardoned by Joe Biden. So it's no surprise Joe lied that he wouldn't pardon Hunter Biden. Well, we knew he would, and he did. Here's the next one to be pardoned. James Biden, Joe Biden's brother. And after that, on the day before Joe Biden leaves office, Joe Biden will pardon himself. Because the real deal in all of this is the Biden family corruption, not these penny ante cases against Hunter Biden. Yeah, income tax evasion is serious. The gun charge, filling out the form, most people don't go to jail for that, even though Democrats are supposed to be big, strong on gun laws, right? But the Biden family corruption, what will happen with that? Biden has no choice but to pardon himself and his brother. He's already pardoned Hunter, as he should, by the way. He exploited Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden is a drug-addicted sex fiend who his father, for money, sent to the wolves, the most evil, powerful men on earth that would eat Hunter Biden alive. But in the name of the Biden family fortune, Joe Biden sent his son packing, come back with the cash, the bag man. So, of course, Joe Biden pardoned him, as any good father would. But mark my words, the next pardons will be James Biden and then Joe Biden himself.
You know what? I can't disagree with that. I can't. Joe has got loose ends he's got to tie up, or at least in his mind he does anyway. He's got to protect the family and as much as he can insulate himself. Now, granted, 81 years old, he's going to be a former president. Do you really want to go after a former president? And believe me, there's going to be a lot of people. This is a good question. To the best of my knowledge, no president has ever pardoned himself on the way out the door. But on the other hand, I don't think there's any, and again, I could be wrong. I'm not a constitutional lawyer, but to answer your question, DB, I don't think there's anything from a constitutional standpoint that stops Joe Biden from pardoning himself. And I could be dead wrong about this, but I'm not aware. And again, I have to go back and look at the pardon clause in the Constitution. But off the top of my head, I don't think there's anything that necessarily prevents him from doing it. Now, this is a strong possibility too. And Gypsy, do you care if I share part of our conversation that we had back and forth on Twitter about this? Okay, so you're saying he won't pardon himself. All right. But to go back to your theory, okay, because we had a bit of a running conversation about this, a couple of 3 comments back and forth. Okay, sure. Gypsy had a very interesting theory. Let me see if I can pull this up. Just a little back and forth that she and I had about this very subject. Give me 1 second here, folks. Hang on. Just about got it. Yeah, here we go. She tagged me on something that said, BT, an observation. It is my belief that the Hunter Biden pardon was discussed between Joe and Trump during their 2-hour White House meeting, a Machiavellian chess play, as now Trump has carte blanche to do blanket pardons on day one. We all know that Trump is a master negotiator. Okay, all right. So I responded and said the following, or she asked me the following question. Do you think the White House transcribers were in the room during the Trump-Biden 2-hour conversation, or was it a total off-the-record, closed-door, super-duper top-secret meeting? I made the comment in response and said, I say it's off the record. Okay? That's why I don't think we will know what was said until at least Biden is no longer with us. Then if Trump wants to talk about it, he can choose to do so. Well, she had one last theory about this, and this goes to something that TBA over on Rumble was bringing up. White House counsel rejects dismissal of Hunter Biden case after Joe's pardon. In a stunning legal motion, the DOJ's prosecutors are opposing Hunter Biden's request to dismiss the indictment, rejecting the notion that a presidential pardon erases the charges against him. Prosecutors emphasized that Biden was not formally docketed the pardon, stating da-da-da-da. Yeah, so this, we'll see where all this shakes out, okay? Okay, now WWG1 just did me a favor, and thank you for that. And I'm going to read this as it comes from the Constitution. Regarding the question, can the president pardon himself? Quote, the president shall have the power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States except in cases of impeachment. Okay. WWG1 goes on to state the following. The bottom line is that if a president commits a high crime or misdemeanor and is impeached, he cannot pardon himself. He cannot pardon himself in a private civil or state criminal case. His authority only extends to federal charges. Take note of the word grant. Typically, the word means one person gives something to another. Under that meaning, the president can give someone else a pardon, but not himself. Okay. So WWG1 is of the opinion the power of pardon is absolute, but not necessarily to himself. Okay. All right. I can accept that interpretation. Why do I get the funny feeling this might come down to be tested? But then again, what else for 2024 is new and interesting? But yeah, this is how crazy this is getting. Absolutely insane. And by the way, Stinchfield is not the only person of the opinion that these pardons stop with Hunter. Miranda Devine on Fox News. I want to play you a clip. It runs about 2.5 minutes, but worth every bit of it. Check it out.
I think what is just impossible for Democrats to defend is that this is not just about a father looking after his son and wanting him not to go to jail when this sentencing was supposed to happen in a couple of weeks. This is Joe Biden going back 11 years to ensure that he himself is not ensnared in any investigation into his family's influence peddling around the world, earning millions of dollars when he was vice president. This is Joe Biden protecting himself.
And maybe his brother, Miranda.
Well, of course. I mean, I'm sure that will be the next pardon. And why wouldn't Joe Biden just go willy-nilly and pardon everyone in his family, anyone he can think of, because he's already, he'll take whatever political hit he needs to for this 11-year pardon for Hunter for any crime that he might have committed. And that includes, of course, the Ukraine grift back in 2014.
So sorry, Dana, your theory then is that he's got to put an umbrella of protection around specific family members, maybe more than two, in order to prevent Congress from going after what they believe was wrongdoing, as they have chased for 4 years.
Yes, obviously Hunter is the most involved in all the China and Ukraine and Romania, etc. But Jim Biden, Joe Biden's younger brother, Hunter's uncle, was also involved in some of the China deals with Hunter. And then there are other family members who received money. And I think James Comer and the Oversight Committee did a pretty good job of following the money trail and seeing where it led from those sort of shady oligarchs and Chinese CCP members through to various cutouts and then eventually to the bank accounts of several Biden family members, including Joe Biden himself, although we were told that was a loan repayment from Jim Biden to Joe Biden on those two checks.
Right. And as you said, a lot of family members got money, including some grandchildren in that. And I'm pretty sure they didn't do any of the work. But you have to wonder about Joe Biden allowing Hunter to do this for so long in the first place. I mean, President Obama and his team were concerned about it enough to raise it, but it continued.
And that is true. Obama's people tried to warn everybody, hey, we got a problem here, guys. You need to cool it. But yeah, these pardons are not going to stop with Joe. Okay. Which, by the way, interesting question that somebody raised. If what Posobiec is saying is true, and this comes from the Twitter account Amuse, if Joe Biden committed, if this is true about, Hunter threatening Joe with a tell-all book, did Joe Biden commit a crime selling the pardon? If he traded the pardon for Hunter's silence, he violated 18 U.S.C. 201, prohibiting public officials from corruptly agreeing to receive anything of value in return for being influenced in the performance of their official duties. Now, that's an interesting angle. Now, will we ever know? No idea. No idea. Good evening, Miss Chaya. Mwah. Hello, darling. I mean, like I say, there are so many angles to this. And like I say, TBA says quid pro quo, anyone? Yeah. I mean, like I say, we're not done totally talking about this. We're going to touch on this a little bit more tomorrow night. I've got a few more things I want to get into. But like I say, this thing's just got all kinds of angle to it. So I tell you what we're going to do for the sake of everybody. Let's bring this train into the station, and we're going to call it a night for our first night back on Chattin On The Porch. By the way, a couple of announcements. One, and I got to check with Tracy on this. I should be on her channel this Wednesday night. I haven't had a chance to talk to her about what we're going to get into, but that's why I'm going to text her tomorrow. So I'll be on her channel unless something comes up this Wednesday night at 6 p.m. And I have a guest coming up from the Washcast. Robert is going to be here Thursday night at 7:30. I said there were a trio of content creators that I've recently come across. I've talked with Sean from Third Railify. I've talked with Chris from My Morning Mayhem. And Thursday night, 7:30 Eastern, I'm going to have Robert from the Washcast on here. I'm really looking forward to finding out about him, his content, what he thinks as he's up in Pennsylvania, such a critical state during the election. And yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about him, or talking to him anyway. So plan on being with us all week. Tomorrow night, we're back at 7:30 Eastern. Want to thank you guys again for being here for Chatting on the Porch. It's been an absolute load of fun as always. And in the meanwhile, come on back tomorrow night, 7:30. We got some more to talk about with this and a few other things in the news. So in the meanwhile, you guys have fun. Thank you so much for being here. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all those things you do that I love you guys for. And with that, you guys have a fantastic night. And remember, as always, the words of that great American philosopher, Tom T. Hall, when he said, "It's faster horses, younger lovers, older whiskey, and more money." Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow night.